Boom. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Yeah, this is good. I'm using my good camera again today. Whoop, 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 whoop. My iPhone, which is a way better camera. Oops, sorry. You know how this goes. There we go. Okay, that's better. I'm trying to get it to move over enough. Stop it. There we go. A little bit. Good enough. I'll leave it. All right. Hey, guys, welcome. Let me get TikTok rolling here. And then we are on a roll, so to speak. Live chat, TikTok. All right. All right. Hang on. Just saying check out. So much freaking news today. All right. Hang on. Woo. All right. Oh, got my cords. Get out of here, cords. Ah, there we go. Evil cords. Get out of my way. All right. 1 second here. One last little thing here. Deep. Trying to find something fun. TikTok needs new fun things. They don't have fun things here. We must have fun things, TikTok. Racing Rover. No idea what that is. Let's see what it is. Let's see. All right. Confirm. Go live. There we go. All right. Welcome, everybody. All right. Let's see here. Deep. Mirror your video. Bam. There we go. All right. Welcome all. Hello. I've got my water. God, there's so much news today. I'm going to have to cherry pick the news because there's a lot. Hey, TikTokers. Welcome, G-Mang. You're the first TikToker. Welcome all. Oops. I could plug in my good microphone on TikTok. Maybe that'd be a good thing to do. There we go. That's my good microphone on TikTok. I should have already been working for you guys on YouTube. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Thank you, Jorge, for the gift. So welcome all. More busy news day. Busy. They're adjusting my lights a little so they don't bother my eyes as much. Woo. Good afternoon, Julian. Thank you, Brandon, for the gift. And Family Lavery. I'm actually tired. God, I actually slept okay, but just busy. And had to play with my fridge today, which is still being bad. I may have to buy a new fridge, which I'm not happy. Thank you, Elizabeth. 18 years old, so, I get it, but it's still annoying. Money, it's more money, Thank you, Russell, for the gift. So welcome, everybody. Big news day. Lots of news. Thank you, Russell. We have Ukraine news, as always. We have even more election news. There actually isn't a ton of Ukraine news. I mean, there's news, which I'm going to tell you, but there isn't a ton, I will say. Thank you, Alan. So welcome, guys. So this is me show. I am John Aravosis. This is my nightly show I do. Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. We talk about the latest news from Ukraine, but we also talk about the American election because it's coming up. Very important election, and I am an American political expert living in Washington, D.C. for, sadly, far too many years since the 1980s. And I've been working in politics for a good 35, 40 years, so I try to bring my knowledge of that to you all. So welcome. Thank you, Running, for the gift. We can just get rolling here. So we're going to start with the election news. There's a ton of election news today, guys. As always, please keep, like Marsha just did. Thank you, Marsha. Please keep the gifts coming. I do this for a living. And to the degree you can afford, please support me. Subscriptions are real. I'm really pushing the subscriptions now. Subscriptions have been doing really well. Thank you, Sexseed. Thank you, John S. Thank you, Blue Sky. Subscriptions have been doing great. So please keep the subscriptions going, guys. If you want to give gift subscriptions to others on TikTok, apparently you can now pick people to give gift subscriptions to, which is kind of cool. So anyway, let's get rolling here, guys. So Kamala Harris has enough delegates to become the Democratic nominee. This is kind of amazing. Thank you, Tarmo. She has nailed it. I said when Biden pulled out of the race on Saturday that the next couple days were going to be key, that she had 24 to 48 hours to basically, thank you, Russell, to basically solidify support, to get tons of donors, to get tons of important people publicly supporting her, to also start getting the polls coming out in her favor. She's gotten all of that. She nailed this, guys. The Associated Press last night called the electors. Now, without having to explain all of this, John, I'm not subscription only because you're literally watching me. Think about that for a second. You're watching the show, yet you don't have a subscription. Ta-da! No, my show is not subscription. My show is the same thing it's always been. Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time, U.S. I have a free show talking about Ukraine and the election. I also am doing additional shows now for the paid subscribers. They are extra shows. They are not, instead of the free shows, I'm still doing the free shows Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. But if you subscribe, you get special shows. You get some weekend shows. You get, lately at least, I've been doing a show a day, just us talking about the election, etc. In any case, let's go on with this. So Kamala Harris. So she's got the electors she needs. Complicated process for how you become the Democratic nominee. It's complicated. But suffice it to say, when you vote in the primaries, you don't actually vote for Joe Biden. You vote for Joe Biden's electors, who then go to the Democratic convention in August and vote for Biden. Thank you, TechSage. What's going on now is that, of course, Biden has stepped down. He's not going to be the nominee. He's not going to put his hat in the race. So the electors or the delegates, whatever. Thank you, Solak. I probably do mean the delegates. I hate our system. It even confuses me. The delegates, not the electors. Oh my God. I freaking hate our system. I've got like a Czech guy correcting me as well here. Or wherever. I always forget where you're from, Solak. Yes, the delegates. You vote for delegates. You don't vote for the candidate, so to speak. What happens is, since Biden isn't running, thank you, Richard, the delegates will go to the convention next month and vote. Well, Biden's not running, so they got to vote for somebody else. The Associated Press went out and called 2,200 delegates. She needs 1,900 to become the candidate. Every single delegate the Associated Press called said they were voting for Kamala Harris. Not a single delegate named anybody else they were voting for. Kind of amazing, actually. Thank you, Jazz, for the gift. So, guys, she's the nominee. Maybe something can change. Let's see, right? I don't know. She's not the nominee for another couple of weeks, but she's the nominee. She's got the money. She's got all the important supporters. She has also scared away all the people who were going to run against her. Thank you, Kate. Nobody's running. I mean, literally, nobody is running against her. Even Joe Manchin, that kind of idiot, isn't running against her now. She's the nominee at this point. A little bit more on here. New polls. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about new polls. There's 3 polls out, all of which are pretty good. And Garrett, I wish I related to Freddie Prinze Jr. because then I'd be friends with Buffy to start with, but also I think he's kind of hot. So, but I'll take it as a good thing that you think that. Thank you. Harris is gaining on Trump with voters in 2 key polls. A Reuters Ipsos poll released Tuesday showed Harris leading Trump 44-42 nationwide. That's a statistical tie. It also, a Morning Consult poll shows in the 24, and these are polls after Biden announced he was leaving. A Morning Consult poll shows Harris lagging Trump by 2 points, again statistical tie. It showed Biden previously leading Trump by 6 points. She's only leading by 2. That means she improved on Biden. Now, remember that American elections are not at the national level, meaning you can win the popular vote and lose the election. Hillary Clinton won the national vote by 3 million votes. She lost to Trump. Al Gore won the national vote by 500,000 votes. He lost to George Bush. But the national polls still give you a sense of the sort of ebb and flow, the momentum. Is it going positive? Is it going negative? It seems to be going somewhat positive for her. She's tied with Trump in both. That's great. Another poll from National Public Radio. This one I want to go through some details with because they give us a lot. I don't want to bore people here, but they give us a lot of details that I think are very interesting for pluses and minuses, things she's got to worry about, things that are going well with her. Thank you, Steve. Let me just read you some of these. Harris and former President Trump are statistically tied. So a third poll that they're statistically tied. Thank you, Mary. Very interesting. Oh, Michael, I have to troll you on that one. That was fabulous. Lies you are. He literally wrote, lies you are. Is that Yoda? Yoda, is that you? Frodo, not Frodo. What's his name? I'm forgetting the baby Yoda. Grogu, is that you? Lies you are. Lies. We have to add that one to the list. Whoever's keeping the list of the keeping the list of all the crazy troll comments we get. Lies you are. I'd put a comma there too. Lies you are. Anyway, that was one of the best troll comments ever. Thank you, Jen Thomas. So let's talk about the NPR poll. 1 in 5 independents, including almost 3 in 10 independent women, now say they are undecided. That could be good. if Kamala Harris can win them over. The next few weeks will be vital for Harris to reintroduce herself to the nation, according to National Public Radio. The survey found that Democrats are feeling better about their chances now, and black voters in particular say they are more fired up to vote. That's huge because blacks basically are the key Democratic constituency. Black women in particular have often saved Democrats' collective asses. So this is a big deal if black voters are feeling more inspired. Thank you, Clink. Harris and Trump have work to do with key voting groups, says NPR. Trump has to pay attention to younger and non-white voters who don't like him. Big surprise. Thank you, Adventures. Thank you, Brandon. Kamala Harris has to worry about suburban and white voters overall. As for Biden's decision to step aside, Americans overwhelmingly agree with his choice. 2/3 think he should. Americans overwhelmingly agree that Biden should have stepped down. 2/3 of Americans think Biden should stay for the rest of his term. That's interesting because Republicans have been trying to go crazy with this. Biden needs to resign right now. Well, not surprisingly, 2/3 of Americans disagree with Republicans. Americans tend to disagree with Republicans once you sort of explain to them what's going on. In a 5-way contest, meaning RFK Jr., crazy Jill Stein, crazy what's-his-face, the Cornel West. In a 5-way contest, Trump and Harris each get 42%. Bobby Kennedy Jr. gets 7%. Let me see this. Independent Cornel West and Green Party Jill Stein get 1%. So that suggests that basically the extra people coming in don't hurt her any more than they hurt Trump. If anything, they hurt Trump a little bit more, a slightly bit more, which is good news. Notably, Harris holds on to Gen Z and millennial voters and non-white voters more so than Biden when there are third-party choices. So basically, what the poll found was when it was Biden versus Trump, thank you, Ava, and you threw in additional parties like Robert F. Kennedy, young people started deserting Biden. Harris holds on to them. They don't desert her. And black voters of color, don't desert her either. That's versus Biden. That's actually very good news. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Luis. By a 77% to 22% margin, Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents say they want her to be the nominee. Black voters were the most likely of any subgroup to say they were more likely to vote now that Biden has stepped aside. Latinos and voters aged 18 to 29 were also among the most likely to say they are more likely to vote. Again, that's very interesting. Latinos and black voters are key. Young people, iffy, because they don't always vote, to be honest. No offense, guys, but you don't vote. But for blacks and Latinos, the fact that they're more fired up to vote now that he's stepped down is huge. This poll is not 100% good for her, though. Here's the problem. Harris only pulls in 32% of independents in a matchup against Trump, while Biden got 46% of independents in the last survey. She only gets 40% of white voters. Biden got 47%. She gets 42% of small city suburban women. Biden got 58%. So in other words, she's got issues or problems with suburban women, which are a key voting bloc. With white voters, big surprise. And I forgot if I had a final one there. I don't remember. Trump now leads with suburban voters 50 to 42, whereas Biden had led previously 56 to 42. That is a horrific switch. If that number's correct, that's very bad. Thank you, Randall. Thank you, Randall. Again, multiple gifts from Randall and Russell too. In any case, so overall, the polls show she's doing better than Biden, which is good. But there are specific areas where she falls back. And again, I think we kind of knew that. We kind of thought suburban women might be iffy, suburbs in general, independents might be iffy, but blacks and Latinos might like her. Young people might like her. On average, it might have broken even, but she still needs to get those groups if she wants to win the election. Kamala Harris mentioned sort of 4 key issues today in her speech. Just want to mention them as sort of 4 big issues she's talking about. Child poverty, union rights, affordable health care, and being able to retire with dignity. So she's talking, obviously, Social Security and other things, healthcare, which is huge. Unions, interesting that she's going with that. I think she means workers' rights, but unions and child poverty. In terms of when she's going to make a decision on the vice president, Jamie Harrison, who's the Democratic Party leader, head of the Democratic National Committee, said today that he expects that Harris will pick a running mate by August 7th. That's 2 weeks from now. She'll pick a running mate And that is the same time that Democrats are expected to nominate her. It looks like, even though the Democratic convention isn't happening until August 18th, that Democrats are going to have an early roll call, do it by Zoom or phone or however they do it, and basically take the vote of the delegates in advance. Thank you, Craig. So we may have a candidate in 2 weeks. We may have a vice president in 2 weeks, a vice president nominee. That's great for Democrats because they need to be able to start presenting them, but it's an awful quick period of time. It really is. What do you do, though? Secret Service director resigned today. Crazy update on this story. I've got a little more on the election, but I wanted to talk about Trump. It's election related, the Trump assassination attempt. So Secret Service, not Secret Service, Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner testifies today about the attack on Trump and says that there were actually around 8 shots fired. They initially thought 3 or 4. Looks like 8 bullets were fired. The really crazy part of the story is there were reports that one police officer, thank you, Luna, did in fact confront the shooter. Now, what this guy testified was, in fact, one of the officers, either there was a report or saw him or whatever, goes to the roof to confront the shooter, climbs up there, and I guess he's got a ladder or whatever, is now peeking over the roof. The shooter sees him, points a gun at him. Thank you, Max Trax. Points a gun at him, and the cop freaks out, lets go, and drops to the ground. Okay, understandable. You're looking over a roof, and a guy's pointing an AR-15 at you. You let go and get the hell out of there. The problem is, and the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner says, this was very good response time. It was a very short period of time between when the local cop saw the shooter and the shooter tried to shoot him, okay? And the shooter tried to shoot Trump. Now, you'd think, initially we heard, oh, the shooter saw the cop ran or whatever, and the shooter immediately turned and shot Trump. Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner says it was a very short period of time between that confrontation and the shooting, so there wasn't really any time to stop the shooter. Guess how long it was? He said it was not a matter of seconds, it was a matter of minutes. They had minutes passed between the cop literally confronting the shooter. The shooter's got an AR-15, and the cop now knows this guy's going to try to shoot Trump. Minutes passed before the shooter then shot Trump, or I don't think he shot Trump. He tried to shoot at Trump. That's a little crazy. That's a little crazy. Did he correct himself later? Are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? Because the news story I saw did not say that. The news story I saw made it very clear on CNN. Okay, if a number of you guys are saying he corrected himself, that's good, because that's crazy. I saw that story. Okay, CNN, actually, now I'm a little pissed off. CNN did not have the correction. Okay, he did change his words. That's good, because that's insane if it was a matter of minutes. Okay, that's better. All right. As they say, as Emily Littell would say, never mind. All right, that's good at least. CNN better correct their story. All right, I'm feeling better about that. President Biden is going to deliver a speech tomorrow night to the nation during prime time. So in the evening, explaining his decision to not run again. Thank you, Pennsylvania Progressive. Schumer and Jeffries, who are the top 2 Democrats in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, came out and endorsed Kamala Harris today. Again, hugely, hugely, hugely important. She's got everybody supporting her now, guys. She's the nominee. I mean, she's basically the nominee. Now, is that the best thing? I don't know. I will say this. I'm not convinced she'd get the most votes compared to some of the other people, but she's the nominee now. There's no 2 ways around it. Democrats need to rally and get her elected. Thank you, Ellie. CNN says 3 minutes. That's what I said, Mark. CNN saying 3 minutes. Maybe the guy, I would like to see the correction before, no offense, guys, but I'd like to see the correction before I believe you, because CNN said 3 minutes. Go back and double check the story if you would. Just go back and double check. A little bit more now. Kamala Harris blasted Trump today. She did a really good comment about Trump, which is great. Thank you, Jessica. Listen to this. I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds, predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the law for their own gain. So hear me when I say I know Donald Trump's type. That's good. Trump looks like he's trying to pull out of the debate with Harris. He has repeatedly said, including this morning, oh, this debate won't be fair. It's on ABC. I can't do a debate on ABC News, which is one of America's big networks. He already agreed to do the debate on ABC News with Joe Biden. The only thing that's changed is Joe Biden isn't in the race anymore. Donald Trump is crapping his pants because he's having to debate Kamala Harris, and he's repeatedly now trying to pull out of the debate. Now, why would he be worried? Well, because Kamala Harris can put two sentences together. She's intelligent. She's a former prosecutor. He's a felon, a convicted felon. And he's not going to be able to get away with all the lies he told at the Joe Biden debate. Biden, we talked about Biden was horrible. Biden didn't challenge Trump on anything. Kamala Harris is going to challenge Trump on everything. Or as Goonerman said, she's going to rip him a new one. So Trump is trying to pull out of the debates, which is very funny. And then he threw in, but I'm going to debate her. Oh, I'm going to debate her. No problem. No problem. Hilarious. What lies? Oh, don't get me started. Trump claimed that black unemployment was at its lowest level in history in the Trump administration. It wasn't. He claimed that Joe Biden added more to the national debt than any president. He didn't. Guess who added more to the national debt than any president? Donald Trump. Guess who added far more to the national debt than Joe Biden? Donald Trump. Guess who added more to the national debt than Joe Biden if you don't count COVID? If you give Trump a freebie, what's it called? A mulligan, whatever they call it. You give him a freebie where 2020 doesn't even count. 3 years of the Trump presidency before COVID, Trump spent more added to the deficit than Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, so yeah, that's how they lied, for starters. The man is a pathological liar. And by the way, I don't need to explain to people that Trump is a pathological liar. This is one of the things that MAGA Republicans do. And it's a part of the authoritarian thing that Trump does in terms of kind of the fascist thing. It's this always, they have to always question the truth. They have to make you doubt the truth because the truth is the only thing exposing their lies. So they always go, how is Trump a liar? Yeah, how is Trump a liar? God, that's so hard. That's so hard. How is Trump pro-violence? God, I mean, who knows, right? Right? This is the crap they always do. So yeah, Trump is a pathological liar. He told, 30,000 lies, the Washington Post documented? 30,000 lies. Thank you, Rune. During his administration, 30,000 lies. Okay? Yeah. Lovely man. Lied nonstop during that debate. A little bit more here. Deep. Yeah, I'll skip those tweets. Lots of tweets from JD Vance that sound really crazy. Your father didn't think so, El Camino. Oh, sorry. All right. The Trump trolls are getting very upset. Well, this just means I'm going to do more Trump stories since you guys are freaking out. I may talk about him calling our troops suckers and losers. He called American prisoners of war suckers and losers, and killed in action for getting caught and getting killed. Hang on a second here. Okay, good. So CNN now corrected the story and said it was only a few seconds between the cop seeing him and the guy shooting. That's good. Anyway, let's get on with this. The big donors, Reid Hoffman and George Soros, have now lined up behind Kamala Harris. That's good. California Governor Newsom is not interested in being Harris's VP. Governor Whitmer is not interested in being the VP. Let me tell you right now, the reason they're not interested is they got passed up and they were informed privately, I will bet you, that they were passed up. They can't have Newsom because he's from California. You can't have two Californians. It's not legal under the Constitution, but also politically, California is perceived as being super liberal. You can't have two Californias. Second problem, Gretchen Whitmer is a woman. You can't have two women. I shouldn't need to explain this. We are not at a stage in America. We haven't had one woman president. We can't have two. It's just not going to work politically. So they were informed, I think, that they weren't going to be the nominee. And rather than it look weird, like why weren't they invited? Why weren't they, asked for their tax information and stuff? They were sort of given the chance to publicly say, no, we're not interested. Other people are good enough for now, right? All right, little moving on here. Trump and the Republicans are trying to accuse Kamala Harris of being responsible for the border crisis of all the illegal immigrants crossing our border. Thank you, Fisher Doge. What's funny about that is a couple different things. Donald Trump is the reason we have millions of people illegally crossing our border this year. We'll talk about that in a second. But also, Kamala Harris was not responsible for border policy under Biden. That was Biden. What Biden did do is he made Harris responsible for something that Biden was responsible early on in the Obama administration, which was basically trying to address the underlying causes of immigration problems, all the illegals trying to cross our border. The idea was, look at the poverty, look at the gangs, right? Look at all the political instability, maybe all the problems in Latin America that are leading to people illegally trying to come to our country. And can you help? Kamala Harris got involved. She got business involved, got a lot of business investment. Thank you, Marsha, into Latin America to basically try to address the economic and public policy reasons why these people were leaving. Well, obviously, that took me a minute to explain. So the Republicans are going, she was in charge of the border policy and the border's been a disaster. Well, here's the other thing. Wall Street Journal did a nice write-up of this, trying to explain how, well, actually, thank you, Timothy. Thank you, Trillitic. Please keep the gifts coming, guys, and keep the subscriptions coming. If you can afford it, please subscribe to my show or maybe give a gift subscription for somebody else on YouTube or TikTok. The Wall Street Journal explained exactly what I was just telling you, which is she wasn't in charge of border policy. She was in charge of basically looking at the root causes in Latin America and trying to help those countries. Now, final point here. Donald Trump is the reason we've got millions of people crossing our border illegally this year. Democrats and Republicans reached a border deal that would have fixed the border problem in January. It was a conservative Republican deal created by James Langford, a conservative Republican from Oklahoma. Republicans all agreed. Democrats agreed. Democrats caved and agreed with the most conservative Republican border proposal in decades. And what happened? Donald Trump freaked out. Donald Trump ordered Republicans in Congress to kill the deal, and they did. Why did he kill the deal? Because Trump needed illegals to keep crossing our border so he could accuse Joe Biden and now Kamala Harris of letting people illegally cross our border. Trump didn't want to fix the problem. Trump literally forced Republicans in Congress to keep the problem going, to let millions of people illegally enter our country so that he could do better in the election. This shows, again, it's the authoritarianism, it's the fascism, it's the anti-Americanism. But it's funny as hell for Republicans to blame her for it when it was they're the ones who did. And by the way, Jason, the border deal was a mistake. You know what? No, it's not. You don't know anything about immigration. When all the conservative Republicans get together and say, this is the conservative Republican deal, I've got news for you. You, some guy on the internet, do not know more than James Langford about the border. A conservative Republican in Congress knows everything about this. You know nothing about it. And the reason I bring this up is because this is part of the bullshit argument that Trump supporters do. They go, it was a bad deal. Really? All the conservative Republicans in Congress got together and supported a bad border deal, but you, typing on the internet, figured out that this was a bad deal when no conservative Republican in Congress was able to figure out it was a bad deal, right? Only you with your keyboard and your little MAGA people were able to figure out it was a bad deal, but all the conservatives supported it. Because I guess all the conservative MAGA Republicans who supported it originally are bad people who don't understand immigration like you do. No, I mean, this is the thing that pisses me off, is because the MAGA people lie. This is all they do is lie. They lie about everything and they wonder why. It just drives me crazy. I mean, absolutely drives me crazy. And again, we had a border deal. We had a good border deal. It was the most conservative border deal in years. And you people wanted millions of illegals crossing our border instead of solving the border problem. Congratulations, you got it. And now you don't get to accuse Democrats of letting illegals in when they're your people who did it. Ugh. All right. A little bit more here, and then we'll do Q&A and everything else. Vice President Harris has this was interesting. This was interesting. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Celtic. Vice President Harris has declined to preside over the Senate chamber when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses a joint meeting of Congress on Wednesday. That's very interesting. One of you had asked, thanks again, Rachel, one of you, and David, one of you had asked, what is her position on Israel and Middle East and all that kind of stuff. Interesting that she's doing this. She's kind of doing a little bit of a slight against Netanyahu, which I think is a good thing because I can't stand him. Thank you, Annie, but very interesting. And finally, Senator Menendez of New Jersey, Democrat, is resigning August 20th. That's because Democrats, when they commit crimes, they go to jail. And Democrats, when they commit crimes, what do other Democrats do? Other Democrats say, you need to quit and go to jail. Republicans sit there and go, it's not fair. The jury, all the 5 different juries were fake, right? All the indictments, all 85 indictments were politically motivated in Florida, in New York, in Washington, D.C., the investigations in Arizona, the investigations in Georgia, the investigations in Michigan, in Pennsylvania. They're all fake. They're all fake, right? No. When it's a Democrat who commits a crime, thank you, Marcy, Democrats get together and say, goodbye, go to prison, quit your job, go to prison. Because one party believes in the rule of law and the other does not. Ukraine, let's switch to Ukraine now. Thank you, Kronos. Thank you, Grumpy. Please keep the gifts coming. As I said, guys, I do this full time. Your gifts help support my work. Your gift subscriptions also help support my work. Your subscriptions help support my work. Any of that you can afford to do, I would appreciate it, because I do this full time, and I'm going to be doing it more and more before the election. Like I said, up until the election now, I'm trying to do a lot more of these special shows for subscribers as well. So please keep it going. All right. It is day 880 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. President Zelensky's chief of staff spoke to Kamala Harris, his national security advisor, on Tuesday today. Her national security advisor, I think his name is Philip Gordon. I think we got to learn these names. Reportedly is more hawkish on Ukraine and the Russians. Thank you, Hedge, for that. Is more hawkish on Ukraine and the Russians than Biden's people, which is good. A couple of her different people apparently are a little more sort of strong on Ukraine and a little more anti-Russian than the Biden people. Not anti-Russian, but willing to stand up to the Russians more than the Biden people, which is interesting. Little more here. Ukraine confirms a Russian ferry was seriously damaged in an attack on Crimea by the Ukrainians, which is excellent. Ukraine shot down another Russian Su-25 jet in Donetsk. 4 days ago, they shot down yet another. 55% of Ukrainians oppose territorial concessions to achieve peace. Only 32% of Ukrainians are open to territorial concessions for peace, meaning giving up land in Ukraine to the Russians. And finally, as I said, there isn't a lot of Ukraine news today. Finally, Russia is in the process of demolishing the last remaining Ukrainian Orthodox church in occupied Crimea. What Russia has done repeatedly, and it's interesting because this is another lie Republicans put out there. Republicans, in part of their zeal to embrace America's enemies and oppose democracy at home and abroad, have been claiming that part of the reason they like Vladimir Putin, the dictator of Russia, who's former KGB colonel, who hates America, who pretty much has declared war on America, the reason they love him so much is he's such a good Christian. And the Ukrainians, they're bad Christians. They oppress religion. But the Russians, they welcome all religion. Well, actually, it's the opposite. You've got tons of different religions in Ukraine. What happened once the Russians occupied the Ukrainian territory? They shut down all the other religions. They destroyed the churches, they arrested people, and they kicked out the priests. Well, they just closed down the final Ukrainian Orthodox church in Crimea. It's gone. There are no Ukrainian Orthodox churches anymore in the southern peninsula that Russia stole from Ukraine. This is what they do. They are not pro-religion. They're not even good Christians. The Russians go to church a lot less than the Ukrainians. The Russians have actually perverted their church. The Russian Orthodox Church is in cahoots with the Russian government, the Russian dictatorship. This goes back to the KGB era of the Soviet Union. The Russian Orthodox Church was always corrupt. It was always an arm of the KGB and the arm of the government. Basically, a church in name only. It was really just yet another enforcement arm of a dictatorship. Very sad. But it's interesting that Republicans try to claim that part of the reason they embrace America's enemy in Russia is because they're such good Christians. They're the worst Christians out there. They've shut down multiple Christian faiths, Baptists, Catholics, Ukrainian Orthodox in Ukraine because they're not good Christians and they're not good people of faith. All right. That is it. That was a ton of news and I got through it fast, which I'm very surprised. I think I'm talking too quickly today would be my question or my guess. Thank you, Janice. Ooh la la. I'm not going to paint all Republicans as pro-Russian PC, but the problem is that is the Republican Party today. The Republican Party today is pro-Russian. Maybe I should say Republican Party. The Republican Party doesn't love America. They love America's enemies. That's it. Let's see, Max. Maybe we're doing early enough tonight. Maybe we can. Thank you, Brigitte. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Marsha. Oh, good. Jeremiah got the subscription from Flower Lady. Excellent. Excellent. That's good. I did have coffee earlier, though. I think I'm just like that idiot got me revved up. That troll. It was the troll, I think. Thank you, Kronos. Obama has not endorsed Harris, Luna, because Obama typically does this. Obama previously had sort of tried to stay out of the race. Obama is such an 800-pound gorilla, so to speak. He's the biggest politician in the room. He is still the most important voice in the Democratic Party. That I think he's trying to not... it's not the nasal spray, Timothy. That would be my asthma spray. I was wondering, you said that the other day, and I was like, huh, that's my asthma spray, which I've not had. No, the nasal spray does not make me hyper. But Obama wants Kamala, I think. He wants to make sure she is legitimate and seen as legitimate, okay? He doesn't want to be the one who anoints her. It doesn't want to be, well, Obama picked Kamala Harris, so now That's the way it is, right? Democrats don't have a say. He wanted grassroots support, money coming in, the polling numbers, maybe members of Congress, but a lot of which has happened now. Everybody else, including donors, including small donors, like a lot of you have donated for the first time. Even during my show earlier today, somebody said they donated for the first time. Obama, I think, wanted to sit back and let everybody else get involved and make her the nominee, and then he will weigh in. But I think exactly, Joshua said, doesn't want to be perceived as placing an heir. I think he didn't want to be perceived as putting his finger on the scale and making it, well, Obama made her be the nominee rather than Democrats got to choose the nominee, right? I would love to get back on mainstream media, Aaron, but, they got to invite me. I don't think I know any of the producers at CNN anymore. Yes, à la douce folie. Denmark here, so invested in Harris winning because U.S. politics are scarily affecting Europe. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And yes, Florica, you cannot donate because you are Canadian. Only Americans are allowed to donate to Kamala Harris's campaign or any U.S. political campaign. It is extremely illegal. So do not even attempt to donate if you are not an American citizen. Thank you. But nice sentiment, though. Thank you. But you are correct. Oh, Jackson Hinkle. I'm surprised Jackson Hinkle's address wasn't in the original Russian. I hope you're joking. Because you are literally one step away, Casey Long, from getting blocked. Not just muted, but blocked. One more wrong comment because I smell a huge troll. Jackson Hinkle is this pro-Russian American who's insanely pro-Russian, scarily pro-Russian, jumps into tanks, waves Russian flags, attacks the U.S. government. Okay, all right, I will, fine. Then you're fine. The guys, I did see, yes, it was a couple of weeks ago and I saw it. Sorry, I thought you were promoting it. That's why you got me worried. No, he's horrific. He's crazy. He's horrific. Yeah, cool dude. No, it's really weird. He's super pro-Russia and basically very anti-America. It's really weird. Anyway, right. Sorry about that. If you're a good guy, didn't mean to go after you. Hey, Stefan, thank you for the super chat, maybe membership or question. I'm not sure what it is. How did you get to know those CNN producers? In the past, I had my political blog. My political blog was huge, and they sort of saw me. I also had done a number of pretty much gay rights campaigns that became huge national and international news, and people knew my name and they would call me about those stories. So they would see my name in the paper in the Associated Press or New York Times, and they'd say, oh, call him and get him on the show. And then once they know you, they'd get you on more. They change jobs and the new people don't know you. So it's just, and I will say this too, typically to get on TV shows, and I've done a lot of national television, CNN, Fox News, to get on a TV show, you need a hook, and it can be confusing sometimes, the work I do. Thank you, Ginger, because what am I, right? Thank you, Bartek. I'm not a podcaster. Am I a vlogger with a V, right? John Aravosis, who has a political TikTok show and YouTube show, right? It's a little hard to explain what I am. And for TV shows, that can sometimes be confusing, unfortunately, but it is. I am a human. Yes, that would look good under my name. John Aravosis, human on CNN. The idea, you get it. Yeah, anyway. Thank you, Iggy, for the gift. Exactly. Freedom of speech in America simply means that you're allowed to speak and the government isn't allowed to throw you in jail for your speech. Freedom of speech does not mean you get to come on my show and say stupid things. You get your own show if you want to say stupid things. A TikTok YouTube creator, I guess that works. I actually have this problem too, because when people ask me what I do for a living, I get kind of confused because I know what I do. I do this show for you guys. I've been covering Ukraine full time. I'm now covering the elections full time, but I'm not sure what you call that. You know what I mean? I'm just not sure what you call that. So, I'm a YouTube TikTok creator. I just feel like that sounds, if I'm not 13 years old, it sounds silly to me, right? Thank you, Timothy. It's not silly, of course. This is serious stuff, but I think it's hard to, even media personality in Washington, I'm a political commentator, I guess. Now, podcast if you called this a podcast, it would be easier. It would be easier if you said I run a podcast. I'm a journalist. You could say journalist, but then they ask where. Well, I have a TikTok show. Now, I will say this. When you say you have a TikTok show, people love talking to you, though. Like at parties and things, you say, oh, I have a show on TikTok. And they're like, really? Because TikTok, even though they know TikTok can be kind of evil, they're also kind of fascinated by TikTok. So there is that. There is that. Video podcaster. It is kind of a podcast in a way, except that it's podcasts are not back and forth like this, of course. Thank you, Marsha. Journalists do not need a license in America. It would be probably against the law, I'm going to say, if they tried to license journalists in America. There was something like that in Washington, D.C. and a couple other states at one point, and it caused such an uproar because of freedom in the press of America. Government does not license the media in America, basically. It goes like against every notion of freedom that we would have. People got very upset at even the concept of it. Thank you, Randy. Are media actually licensed in Western countries, for example? I'm curious, in like Western democracies. Thank you, Randy, for the gifts. I have never met Kamala Harris. You got me thinking. No, I've not met her. I would love to meet her. I love David Pakman. Independent News? Interesting. But what does he call his job? Like, David, I actually should ask David, like, what do you do for a living, right? You muted Wild Hunt Corsetry, Ash? How'd you manage that? I'd be curious. I love David, but I'd be curious what David calls himself, right? An independent political commentator? Anyway, political pundit? Yeah. I'm not sure who I'd like to be VP. Yeah, David's amazing. I had him on my podcast. He's just a lovely person. And thank you, Sarah Ann, for subscribing. I like how David Pakman, you can find him on TikTok and YouTube. I like how measured David is. I can't speak like this, right? I would literally explode if I tried to have a conversation with you like this. This is the way David speaks. I literally, like, the energy is building up inside of me, and I would blow up in 1,000 pieces if I kept going like that. Like, the pressure would keep building, you know? Bernie, the problem with Bernie Sanders as VP is Bernie's 82 years old. I was asking about Bernie as the candidate because Bernie did the best last time, second to Biden in the primaries. The problem is he's 82. You can't get rid of Biden because he's 81 and then have an 82-year-old pop in, right? It's too much. It's too much. Bernie might be an amazing campaigner. Bernie might even turn on a lot of voters on the left, but you just can't. I mean, you can't kick out an old guy for another old guy. That's exactly the problem. I mentioned Bernie first, and some of you said he's 82. Now, when he's 82, he's just too old. Yeah. Anyway. I want lots more money for Ukraine because I want to destroy the Russians. Yeah. I want America to literally put Russia in its place and set that country back 10 or 20 years in terms of its military, and we already have. So yeah, I want lots more money to go to the Ukrainians because we're literally saving American dollars. We are with 1/10, actually it's around 15% of the U.S. defense budget of 1 year. 15% of 1 year of the U.S. defense budget, we have destroyed the Russian military and set them back 10 years. You know how much money we have to spend every year to do that to the Russians, to stand up to the Russians? The Ukrainians have given us a gift from God, what they've done to the Russians. So do I want to spend more money on Ukraine? Hell yeah. And by the way, 90% of that money goes to American companies. Do I want to spend U.S. defense dollars on American companies? Hell yeah. Why don't you, MAGA troll? That's what I say. Mind you, you could be a Russian troll too. Fair enough. Could be a Russian troll. Where's my little... Hold on. Where's he hiding? Here's he hiding. Could be Russian troll. Could be Chinese too. This is true. Bernie's too old to be VP, Albert. He's 82 years old. He's just too old. It would look bad. It would just look bad. Because also, Democrats need to hit Trump on the age thing now. You can't hit Trump on the age thing if the Democratic vice president is 82 years old and Trump's only 78, right? Thank you, Distaney. Could be a homegrown troll. Very true. Mark Kelly. I don't know. I mean, what is weird is they're talking about picking the vice president in 2 weeks. Actually, let me read you this. This was really interesting. This was, I summarized it for you, but I didn't read it to you. Hold on. Where is this? It was about, I don't think I read this to you yesterday. I think I read this on the show this morning. Come on. Come on. Now I'm not going to find it. Here it is. Nope, I'm not going to find it. It might have been yesterday when I read this to you, that basically it was yesterday. Hillary Clinton's vice president, Tim Kaine, he didn't win, but her nominee, right? And he said that the process to become Hillary Clinton's vice president was a 2-month-long he didn't say proctological exam, but basically it was a 2-month-long exam. In-depth interviews with his family, in-depth interviews with him and his friends. He had to turn over years and years and years of every tax document ever produced. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. He had to provide everything he ever wrote in his entire life, every speech he'd ever given. It was 2 months of living hell to become the nominee. Democrats only have 2 weeks. That's a little scary, to be honest. A little scary. But that's where we are. I would love to see Pete Buttigieg as a VP pick too. You can't have a black woman and a gay man. It's too diverse. Every time I say that, I know it kind of sounds weird, but you know what I'm talking about. It's way too diverse. It's just too extreme. It makes it look like we've got some extreme liberal agenda, or it just looks bad. It does. We could have a black woman. That's great. You need a straight white guy, preferably somebody who's around 60 years old, I would say. Which is Mark Kelly, by the way, Oh, I love Pete. The poll was interesting. One poll, I think it was one of the polls I was just talking about, I was reading, and it said when asked who they want as the vice president, Pete was like at the top of the list from one of the polls, which was very interesting. No, Pete Buttigieg imagine what Pete Buttigieg would do in terms of just destroying Donald Trump or destroying, oh my God, Pete against JD Vance. Because JD Vance is Mr. Family Values, and Pete is like as religious as they get. He loves to call them out on their religion. Like Mike Pence, he would always go after Mike Pence and go, Mike tries to say he's a conservative Christian, blah, 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 and he's literally defending a guy sleeping with a porn star, cheating on his wife with a porn star. He's defending a porn star committing adultery. And every time Pete would say it, you'd go, Mike Pence was like, I think Pete could be a Secretary of State. Or a United Nations ambassador too. I think he may get Secretary of State or United Nations ambassador. He may. Thank you, Lotus. Thank you, Jetta. Thank you, Lotus again, Brian. I don't know. That's a good question. Lars asked, would a high turnout be an advantage for Harris? I don't know. What I mean is I don't know who it benefits, whether it benefits more Republicans or Democrats. I don't know. I really don't. Meaning if there were if there's high turnout across the board, if there's high turnout just for Democrats, that's always good. Misha and his wife are expecting. Wow. Very cool, Misha. You're going to have a little American baby. Nice. Very nice. What else we got? Thank you, Russell, for the gift. High turnout is always good for Democrats. Blue Sky says evangelicals only win with low turnout. Oh, that's interesting. Now, mind you, Democrats do tend to have a lot of early voting. So high turnout on election day can sometimes benefit Republicans because that's when Republicans vote. Democrats vote early. So then again, high turnout could mean high turnout in the weeks before the election as well, right? Thank you, Danily, or Danulov. What else we got, guys? And I'm not really sure what to tell you on the VP. Like I said, I think it's a little wild that we're having to pick a vice president in 2 weeks, but what do you do? These are the times we live in, I'm not sure how Harris wins the working class. I mean, look, Republicans are going to think it. Oh, hey, Timothy, thank you for subscribing. Republicans are going to try to, paint Harris. Actually, what I'd be curious to see what is the, what do the focus groups say about Kamala Harris? I want to know, like today, how do the focus groups perceive her? Now, her negatives were pretty strong. Donald Trump's approval rating is higher than Kamala Harris, which is scary. But Donald Trump's disapproval is also higher than Kamala Harris, which is good. I would be curious to see what the focus groups say. In other words, they get people in a room and they sort of quiz them and they have them watch the speech and say, okay, what did you think of her? Give me one word. And then they make them discuss it. And they try to, over a period of hours, really glean what is the reaction people have to a person. I'd just be curious, what is it people see when they see her? Kathleen, I favor democracy. I think Donald Trump is an existential threat to the country. He's a convicted felon. He raped a woman. He tried to violently overthrow the government. He hates our troops. He hates America. He loves our enemies. He's un-American. He's anti-American. Yeah. So I'm not really pro-Democrat. I'm pro-America. And my question, as always, for you MAGA guys is, why aren't you? Why don't you love America? You know, you pick a felon who tried to violently overthrow the government, who's a pig, and he's a pig. You picked a pig, and you're surprised people don't think he should be president. That's not being pro-Democrat. That's being pro-America and pro-morals and pro-ethics, but especially pro-America. What else we got? Thank you, LR, for the gift. Thank you, Taylor. Amy sent subs. Thank you, Amy. Oh, is that the one that Odalis maybe got? Odalis? Now, a couple of you guys on TikTok, make sure you pay attention. Some of you may now be subscribers. Subscribers have that little SNN box next to their name on TikTok. Either it means you paid for it or somebody gave you one as a gift for a month. If you got it as a gift, you get a number of little things. You can have special emojis, but the most important is I do a number of shows now just for subscribers, for paid subscribers. They're extra shows I do. I do one every Saturday morning, almost every Saturday morning. I also do one. I'm doing one every day at the moment in the late morning, just on the election special, just for the paid subscribers. So G-Mang is asking if they could be a sub. If anybody feels like donating, feel free to. You can donate a gift to a person. Thank you, Nicola. AJ, how will Harris proceed with Russia's war on Ukraine? All we know so far is Kamala Harris's national security advisor is apparently more hawkish on Russia, meaning is more, feels that America should stand up more against Russia, okay, than Biden's people do. And so is the number two, the national security advisor of Harris. So on its face, she could be even tougher than Biden. Depends where she is on. I don't know where she is on it. Now, I will say this as thank you, Robert, my dinosaur friend. I will say this: the some of my Ukraine people I've been following, Cheyenne, Queen, and Allie just got subscriptions from a gift from somebody. Excellent, and thank you, G-Mang, for sharing the live. Oh, that was Dark Phoenix. Thank you, Dark Phoenix. And somebody get G-Mang a subscription too, if you would. I don't mean to make you do it, but since he or she was asking, if you can, that would be sweet of you. Thank you, Lotus. See, I'm forgetting now. I hate what was I saying, guys? You got me thinking of something. Sorry. Miss Wags as well, if possible. It went away. I'm looking at it right now, Tim. Oh, I see what you mean. You did just subscribe again. You know what's funny? I saw you subscribe, Timothy, and I thought he was already a subscriber. You know what it is, though? Sometimes people fall on hard times. So I never mention when I see somebody who was or wasn't a subscriber because, you never know. And maybe somebody isn't liking, my show, but also people fall on hard times. So you never kind of want to go, why aren't you a subscriber anymore? Because you don't want them to go because my money's tight. Russia. So what we don't know is Kamala Harris herself on Russia. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Some of the Ukraine commentators, but I think Russia experts on Twitter were saying, if Kamala Harris becomes the nominee, you are going to witness racism and sexism come out of the Russian government like you have never seen before. In terms of just the vile racism and the vile sexism that they're going to put out there if she becomes the nominee. So that's going to be and if you're Kamala Harris and the next 3 months, you are watching Russia just epitomize racism and sexism, that does not bode well for America's relationships with Russia. So honestly, let it rip, Anyway. Valerie, I don't even know what that means. Yeah, exactly. You're muted. I don't even care if you're a subscriber, Valerie. You're muted. Because Valerie may have gotten it for free. That was a troll comment. See, now that is the one problem. Sometimes we get trolls who get subscriptions, but you know what? A troll can be muted and a troll can be blocked. So I'd say anybody who's got a subscription who causes trouble, mute them first. But if they keep it up, block them. Oh, well. Thank you, Amy, for subscribing. Lovely. Cheryl sent more subs. Thank you, Cheryl. Deb, let's not even go there. The last thing we need to do is repeat troll comments, because then it starts the whole conversation the trolls were trying to have. How can she learn from Hillary's mistakes? I don't know. The reason I say that is because what were Hillary's mistakes, right? I mean, that's not easy. That's not an easy question to answer. Thank you, Louisa. I mean, Hillary won the election by 3 million votes. One would say she did pretty damn well. Hillary would have won the election if the FBI didn't screw her in the last week of the election. Hillary would have won the election if the Russians didn't screw her, if Donald Trump didn't invite the Russians to help him in the election, and the Russians didn't do it along with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. So, I mean, you could argue Hillary didn't really screw up. There was some arrogance there. I will say this, the Hillary campaign absolutely believed, they always think they're going to be, but here's the problem too. I mean, Teresa says the deplorable comment. Hillary people called Trump supporters like the deplorables. She's right. Now, maybe she shouldn't have said it, but she's right. His supporters are deplorable. And we now know that, right? They don't have problems with sexual assault. They probably support him for it. Thank you, Cronin, for subscribing, right? They don't have problems with trying to violently overthrow the government. That is deplorable. They don't have problems with him being amoral and immoral and unethical and a bad Christian. I mean, especially his top supporters, his strongest support is with conservative Christians when he is the least Christian president we probably ever had in American history. So I don't know. I mean, I'm quite serious. Like, I don't quite know what Hillary's mistakes were, to be honest. Having said that, absolutely, there could be arrogance. Yes, there could be that, which Joe just said. I think Hillary did, I think, feel like I know Hillary's people, we knew. Hillary's people felt like, although Bernie's people did too, Hillary's people felt like they were owed this, right? And like it was inevitable and this kind of thing. And that's how Trump is now. The word is hubris, even better than arrogance. It's a wonderful word. Goes back to, I think, ancient Greece. Hubris, hubris. Google it. It is a much more nuanced word than just arrogance. And hubris was her problem. Hubris is certainly Trump's problem today. And it's good because it basically means you're a little too proud and a little too sure of yourself, and you're going to stumble, and you risk stumbling because you're not being careful. I don't know if she divided the party against Bernie. I was not a Bernie fan. Hillary had nothing to do with it. I don't think that was it. I don't think that was it. No, Bud, good. No, it's not a silly question. It's a good question. We actually got the solution during the live this morning. I have a special live I do for paid subscribers. I do it now different. I'm still doing these for the free ones, but I now am doing a live one like late morning-ish, almost every day, Monday to Friday, about the election for the paid subscribers. And we got asked that this morning, and we looked it up. The question is, under the U.S. Constitution, 22nd Amendment, 23rd, 22nd Amendment, maybe, a president can only run for 2 terms. Previously, presidents could go forever, and Franklin Roosevelt had 4 terms. He died in his 4th term. Each term is 4 years, so it can go a long time. 22nd Amendment. Thank you, JP. Under the 22nd Amendment, presidents can only serve 2 terms. The question becomes, what is a term, right? If Joe Biden were to resign today as president, if he dies, and Kamala Harris becomes president, is this her first term? What the Constitution also says is, A, a president can only serve 2 full terms. B, a term is defined as, let me rephrase, I don't have it in front of me, but what it said was, if you are not elected president and you serve as president, so president dies or whatever, if you're not elected and you serve as president, you have to serve at least 2 years for it to be considered a term. So if you serve 2 years because the guy before you died, then it's considered 1 term, and then you can only run once more. But because she would only be serving now for 3.5 months, it's not considered a term. So in other words, you can run for 10 years. You can be president. 2 full terms and up to 2 years of a term before if you were vice president. So there, it's a great question. No, it's a great question. We had to look it up today. Term explanation? I don't know what that means. I think this is a joke, Magical, but I don't get it. No, it was a very good question. Yeah. What else we got? I don't know. What else, guys? Yeah, you basically have 10 years max. Plans for the weekend? It's Tuesday. Actually, my sister's coming to town. We're gonna they're gonna help me finally get stuff up on my walls and maybe buy a refrigerator since my refrigerator is acting up. I'm a little annoyed. Um, but what do you do? You know, what happens if Biden resigns? She becomes the president. I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure what else to tell you. She becomes president, man. And she keeps campaigning, and maybe it helps her, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I don't think it hurts her if she's president. Now, mind you, if she's not president, it gives her time to campaign more, right? I never practiced law. I got a law degree from Georgetown, Caitlin, but I never wanted to practice. I had done 2 law jobs in law school and hated them. And I did not want to practice as a lawyer. One of the many decisions in life I made that makes me not a rich person, but I actually, getting out of law school, got a job with the Federal Reserve as a lawyer with the Federal Reserve in Washington, D.C. And this was 1989, and they were paying $65,000 a year in 1989. And trust me, I was tempted, but I was like, I can't stand doing law jobs. And I was like, the Federal Reserve? Even though it sounds cool on paper, I was like, and I didn't do it. But of course, had I done it, I would have a lot of money today and a great retirement. But, I've always liked doing jobs that I enjoy like this, Thank you, Cronin. Appreciate that. Now, where are you? 2:30 means you're pretty far east. User ABC, you want to date me? I'm already dating your father. Sorry. You may want to check with him first. So where are you? If it's already 2 a.m. My dream job, who knows now? Okay, my dream job now, archaeologist, probably. Astronomer, maybe. One or two, I would think. I know it's only midnight in the UK. That's what I was asking. They had to be further out there. Can you use gift cards to subscribe? I doubt it. It's a YouTube thing. You've got to use money or the little stuff they do. A lawyer for an archaeologist at the UN. Certainly not the UN. I worked there. Thank you, Nicholas. Never going to go there again. That's for sure. But it's too hot. It is too hot to be digging lately. I will say that. I'd be an archaeologist in cool countries. Archaeologist where there's lots of beaches. Maybe Greece. Oh, Greece is horrifically hot though in the summer. I know you're teasing about the UN. I know that. Of course, Biden had COVID. Lie again. Biden really hasn't lied about anything. You know who lied about having COVID? Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't tell the country he had COVID. He actually went to a debate with Joe Biden when he had COVID, didn't tell Biden, could have killed Biden. Trump literally risked killing Biden. This was 2020 when guys in their 70s and 80s were dying of COVID left and right. Trump went and debated Biden. Trump gave COVID to Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, former governor, top Trump aide, top Trump ally, didn't tell him he had COVID, gave it to Chris Christie during the debate preparation. Chris Christie went to the hospital for a week and it almost killed him. Chris Christie to this day hates Donald Trump because Trump literally almost killed him. ICU, intensive care for a week. Then Donald Trump almost died himself from COVID. And what did he do? He lied about it. Didn't tell the American people. The president of the United States was dying. Not just somebody who's old, right? This is the thing. And by the way, this is why I tell you how Democrats suck about messaging. When Republicans say Biden should step down, he lied. Really? Biden lied about getting old? Donald Trump lied about literally dying. He was dying. And he lied to the American people and didn't say that that's why he got rushed to the hospital, because his blood oxygen was in the 80s, which literally at his age is serious threat from dying when your blood oxygen is that low at his age and in 2020. So when trolls come and say, did Joe Biden lie about saying he had COVID? Well, Donald Trump lied when he said he didn't have COVID. He lied when he did the debate prep with Chris Christie about COVID. He lied when he debated Joe Biden with COVID. And he lied when he went to the hospital dying of COVID and didn't tell anybody. So yeah, let's talk about Donald Trump and Joe Biden and who's a liar. Donald Trump as Ariane said, literally lies about everything. He is the biggest pathological liar we have ever had, I think, in American politics ever. Certainly the biggest liar as far as American presidents go ever. The Washington Post counted 30,000 lies that Donald Trump said, significant lies he told during his presidency. He is a horrific human being. He is un-American. He is unethical. He is unchristian. And if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it, about who's a liar. Who's a liar? 30,000 proven lies from Donald Trump because he thinks you're suckers and losers and thinks I can lie to you and thinks he can get away with it. And honestly, looks like he's right that he can get away with it. What does that say about you? Thank you, Amy. Political commentator and YouTuber. It just sounds too, I don't know. I'm still working on it. It just sounds too, am I AI? If I were AI, I think I'd have darker hair, I think, for starters. Thank you, Bryce, for the gift there. You're in Finland. That's where you are. I was wondering where you were. I assumed you had to be like Eastern Scandinavia, maybe Baltic, something like that. What else we got, guys? I don't know where Harris is. I don't know. I mean, Harris is certainly not going to be any more pro-gun than Biden. That's for sure. Clearly, Sasha News Network founder, exactly. Dog parent. What do I do for life? I'm a dog parent. What else? VP choices. We're going to see. Again, to me, the most interesting news is they're talking about her picking her VP in 2 weeks, which is crazy. Biden tested negative for COVID today, so apparently he's doing better. That was pretty fast, actually. She's got a good chance of winning. Look, I think Biden had a good chance of losing. Kamala Harris has a good chance of winning. Now it's a debate. Not debate. It's a contest. Trump could win. She could win. A couple months ago, I thought it was kind of Trump versus Biden, and then it became Biden just collapsing, right? Now she could win this, but she's got to present herself very well to the American people because the Republicans lie and they will demonize her and destroy her. So she better do a damn good job presenting herself. That's true. Actually, Joe raises a very good point. Even if Kamala Harris loses, it prevents a red wave. Good point. She helps get Democrats to the polls. You are worried about the White House, but you're also worried about Congress. Democrats had a good chance or have a good chance of winning the House back. Republicans have a good chance of winning the Senate. If we can stop Donald Trump from getting the House and Senate, that's a huge deal. Because if he has both houses, then all bets are off what he could do. So by replacing Joe Biden with Kamala Harris on the ticket, you make it much more likely that, again, blacks, young people, maybe Latinos are willing to come out and vote, which is good. Jason, I'm not sure that quite works. Oh, trust me, the Antichrist thing, I've thought about it a lot. Well, yes, Republicans are going to be kind of struggling by saying that Kamala Harris is far left and she's a prosecutor who put too many people in jail. So is she far left? Is she a far left communist? Or is she a conservative prosecutor who's too tough on crime? Mind you, from a Republican, too tough on crime? Good luck explaining to the American people what too tough on crime means. The American people are going to love if the Republicans say Kamala Harris was too tough on crime. Now, I would grab that and make an ad myself. Donald Trump says Kamala Harris is too tough on crime. Yes, please do. I don't know whether to. Oh, I forgot about that. The YouTube. I forgot about the YouTube hand motions. I put both thumbs in the air and it shows firecrackers. What does one thumb do? One thumb does that, and then two thumbs is the fireworks. It's very funny. You have to see this on YouTube. It's very funny. Very funny. Anyway. Oh my gosh. What else we got here? Is Matt Gaetz Romulan? Oh. Yeah, God knows what Matt Gaetz is. Good evening, unknown in Norway. Well, there are three new polls out right now that show Kamala Harris and Donald Trump being tied within the margin of error. One poll, she's a little ahead. Two other polls, I think he's a little, or maybe one's a tie and he's a little ahead, but because of the margin of error, that's tied. So it's three new polls that show them basically tied. But in American politics, you can't just look at a national poll because you don't win the US election based on total number of votes. You win it based on which states you win. This is why Hillary Clinton, and I always point this out, Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump by 3 million votes and she lost the election. Al Gore, Democrat, beat George Bush, Republican, by 500,000 votes. He lost the election. So looking at the national poll gives you a sense, at least, right? But you need to look state by state, and we have not seen state by state polls yet since they've gotten out there. Advice I would give her, I think she's got to come out swinging hard. First of all, I think she should move to she should move to the middle a little. I think you win in this country by being a centrist, and you do. Some people on the left don't like it. Too bad. Welcome to America. But I think she has to establish herself as a solid candidate in the middle, strong on defense. I'm really not sure. I'm not sure. But look, Americans like a businessman. They do. They like a businessman. You know, that's what they like. So she should be a businessman. I mean, you know, she should come across like a corporate executive. She's got a law degree. She's a prosecutor. She had serious jobs. She's been a U.S. senator. They want to see somebody serious, somebody they trust, somebody they feel they could trust the country with. And that's her job. And it's a little tough as a woman because a woman, you get the prejudice of if you're too tough, you're a bitch. If you're not tough enough, you're too soft and a woman, you're an emotional woman. And you get this weird, and if you're too tough, you're also an emotional woman if you're too tough too. Like women get it just back and forth in U.S. politics. So I don't know. I do. Now, I will say, I think she has to call Trump out on all the stuff Democrats are afraid to. You know, he is a traitor. He doesn't believe in democracy. He doesn't believe in America. Make America great again. She ought to sit there and go, make America great again. He wants to make Russia great again. He wants to make North Korea great again. He wants to make Iran great again. Iran is like 1 week away from being able to process enough uranium for a nuclear weapon because of Donald Trump. Why aren't Democrats talking about that? Donald Trump is literally giving Iran the bomb. He's making Iran great. Actually, there's the thing. Donald Trump made unemployment great again. Donald Trump made COVID great again. Donald Trump wants to make measles great again because he's threatening to cut back any money to schools that require vaccines. Donald Trump wants to make hurricanes great again because he wants to kill the Weather Service. Donald Trump wants to make illiteracy great again because he wants to kill the Department of Education, right? I mean, imagine like all that. I mean, I kind of like this. Imagine all the things you can do with Donald Trump making great again. Make adultery great. Yeah, MAGA, make adultery great again. I mean, I think she ought to come out and like just punch him between the eyes, metaphorically, right, with her messaging, you know? Yeah, Operation Warp Speed. And then what did he do, right? Trump created the COVID vaccine and then convinced Americans not to take it because it was dangerous and would kill you and grow 3 heads, right? I mean, everything, my God. Anyway. Make polio great again. I know, you know? Anyway. Because Republicans are good at lying about women. Alex said, how did everyone paint Harris as unlikable and she's not? Because they lie, and they lie very well. They particularly lie well about Black people and women. Hillary Clinton, I got news for you. I told people earlier in our live we did earlier today for the paid subscribers, Hillary Clinton, today people go, oh, Hillary, young people, Hillary Clinton is so conservative. Hillary Clinton was considered a communist back in 1990. When Bill Clinton got in the White House in 1993, Hillary Clinton was considered his biggest liability because she was a socialist, left-wing, radical. That was Hillary Clinton. Republicans painted her, well, first they painted her as being, this liberal Marxist. Then they painted her as being this conservative lunatic. I mean, it's 30 years of destroying Hillary Clinton is also, that was Hillary Clinton's biggest problem in the election. She was Hillary Clinton. The Republicans had spent 30 years demonizing her because she's a woman and because they just hated the Clintons because that's who they are. I mean, during the Clinton administration, Republicans literally, the top evangelical leaders of the Republican Party produced videos claiming the Clintons had murdered multiple people in the White House. This is the kind of crazy shit these guys did. They lie exceedingly well. So that's part of the problem with Kamala Harris is they lie very well. And she better hit back 10 times harder than them and keep Donald Trump on the defensive. The prosecutor versus felon thing, they want to talk about her being a prosecutor. Every single time she's got to go damn straight. I was a prosecutor. I put people in jail. I put people like you in jail. People who stole money. People who sexually assaulted women, right? People who broke the law. I mean, every single time she needs to just hit back 10 times harder. I told you, I wish Hillary Clinton had hit back at Trump. Like when he did that little land shark thing during the debate. Remember when he kept standing really close to her and stuff? She should have turned around and gone, Donald, I'm not one of your bimbos. You know, I'm not some porn star who you can like touch. You know what I mean? Maybe you've mistaken me for one of your adulterous bimbos. I'm not. Get the hell out of my space or I'm going to punch you. I know Hillary couldn't do it, but damn, during that debate, I wish Hillary had done it. She would have shown America that she was strong. I really do. I think she should have just said, Donald, get out of my face. I'm not one of your adulterous bimbos. And if you get in my face again, I'm going to smack you. You know? Anyway. Beep, 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 beep. Of course I'm voting for Kamala Harris. Who do you think I'm going to vote for? Trump? I mean, Nicholas, what do you think? Everyone should vote for Kamala Harris. You've got to stop Trump. Anyway. That's good. T Queen said Hillary should have said to Trump, Donald, aren't I a little old for you? Actually, that's pretty funny. Actually, Donald, aren't I a little old by 50 years for you? Because of course he likes like 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds by 60 years. She should have said, she goes, Donald, I think I'm about 60 years too old for you. That would have been very funny. I did not see her rally speech today. How was it? I was busy trying to fix my refrigerator that is working, but not working well. I am very close to having to buy a refrigerator. Yes, your donations and your gifts are probably going to help me buy a new refrigerator after 18 years, sadly. But what do? You know, I try to keep things as long as I even bought some equipment and cleaned out the coils on my refrigerator today. I was very good. So I spent about an hour and a half cleaning out the coils on my refrigerator when I should have been watching Kamala Harris's speech. So I apologize. I don't want to spend $1,000 on a new refrigerator if I can help it. Kick it a few times. I did everything. My brother-in-law is very good at this. I'm going to ask him. I think it may be the thermostat or thermometer, but I don't know if it's worth it anymore at this point, trying to fix it. Sadly, it's 18 years old, but again, I'd rather not spend the money. Anyway, yes, I've got to see what her speech did today. Yeah, it's 18 years. Actually, the compressor already went out, or the motherboard went out once. It did that clicking thing. Click, 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 click. Now it's just that it says it's 37 degrees, but it's really 42 or 43 degrees. And it holds, and even worse, I had it set at 37. No, I had it set at 37. It said 37. It was really 45. Then I set it to 34, and now it says 42. So I'm a little worried because it looks like, you know, whatever reads the temperature or interprets the temperature is got it wrong, and it won't let the fridge get any colder, even though the fridge needs to get colder. What do you do? I probably am. I'm going to ask my brother-in-law tonight or tomorrow for the last bit of advice. But I've done what I can to I've tried to repair my fridge. I've done what I can. You know, what do you do? A new one. I may not get a touchscreen though. First of all, I'm not going to waste the money. It may be the thermostat. It may be. The only thing is, as I said, it's like 5 degrees off. When it says 37, it's really 40, not even 5. It's when it says 37, it's really 45. When it says 34 is the temperature, it's really 42. It's like off whatever that is, 6, 8 degrees, which makes me wonder if it's the thermostat or whatever it is that translates the thermostat, or you know what I mean? Anyway, you get it. We shall see. My brother-in-law knows these. Actually, they're coming this weekend. We may even rent a car and go to an outlet, you know. Thank you, Skywalker. Oh, hey, thank you, 45th Parallel. I'm forgetting where that is. Does that mean you're Canada? I'm forgetting now. And judging by your picture, you could be Canada. You look like you're bundled warm with a beard. Fahrenheit? Yes, I'm American. I talk Fahrenheit. Yes, I do. Sorry. Sorry. Although 37 is Fahrenheit. That doesn't help you. It's a couple degrees Celsius. I don't know. 5. I don't know. Oregon. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, but that still explains the granola look and the beer, the Grizzly Adams look. Oregon works. Let's see. I'm going to talk to my brother-in-law about the fridge. We'll see. Actually, he could help me fix it too, potentially. I don't know if we can get the part in time, but that's a possibility. 32 Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. Correct. 32 is freezing. The coffee cup is just water. It's always water. I don't really, at this hour, it's always late. I don't drink anything else at this hour because iced tea would be too much for me. 49th parallel. Is that most of the U.S.-Canada border is at the 49th? Okay. I was going to say, I knew there was a number we used to refer to Canada or the border. It's 49th then. Okay. 4-year-old LG ice maker is going $400 to repair. And honestly, I don't even care. My friend got a new fridge, paid like $2,000 for it. Ice maker, it broke. I didn't unplug it for 12 hours. I unplugged it for 1 hour. My concern about 12 hours is literally everything going bad inside. I do have a lot of food. But also I'm not convinced 12 unless it's frozen inside, which is its own problem. I know we're talking about my fridge now. We do that, by the way. I've been going on for almost an hour and a half now. By the end of the show, we often go off on tangents just because it's what we do, because we've already talked about the news. So thank you, user 336. But no, 18 years is pretty good for a fridge, though. I'll give it credit for that. But yeah, his fridge was just, I think, 3 years old, and the ice maker broke after 3 years. And even worse, watch it, Russell, even worse, it's in the door, but you have to take the door off to fix. You can't just fix it on the door. Mine's a GE profile. Why don't they make them like they used to? Because they're all made in China. Mine's a GE. Again, it's 18 years. It did pretty well, but again, I'd rather not have to pay, even if I get a deal. A deal could be 800 to 1,000. A deal could also be 300 or 400 if I'm lucky. You find I have no problem going Craigslist. I have no problem going and buying at the not the secondhand, the what do you call it? Factory outlets, where you get like a machine that's dented. Who cares? I'll put if it's on one side, it's against the wall. If it's on the other side, it's covered. I don't mind if it's dented. I don't want the front scratched and dented. I think that's a bit much, but if it's super cheap, who cares? Right? If I get it for $300 and it's scratched and dented, maybe I'd do it anyway. Ice delivery weekly. That's funny. Old school. Yeah. New phone, 1,100. Well, at some point I'll need a new phone. My phone's doing okay, but it's 2.5 years, I think. And usually I get about 3 years before the battery dies. And then I've got to decide, do I spend 100 on a new battery? But I'm very good. I usually wait 3 to 4 years usually I do replace the battery and go 4 years on my phones. I like stuff, but I try to be frugal with buying stuff. I always do. Anyway, cover the dent with a magnet. Well, exactly. I've got lots of Ukrainian magnets. I'll just be like, actually, my fridge today, though, the magnets don't work. I am filming my TikToks on my phone, Florica, and I'm using my phone as my camera for YouTube because I found that my phone camera was so much better than my computer camera and much better than the expensive camera I bought for my computer. I tried my phone. The quality's better. The resolution is so much better on YouTube, like ridiculously better. So now, even though I'm a little afraid of it using my battery, even though it's plugged in, I use my phone now, and it's wonderful as my camera. It's the quality is, I don't know if you guys remember before, it was literally like pixelated. It was blurry, and now it's amazing. Yeah. No, the phone cameras are insanely good. Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. I'm getting a little warm. Thank you, Deshaun. Appreciate that. Anyway, guys. All right. I think I'm going to call it quits. We've been going an hour and a half. Tomorrow I've got to go get my teeth cleaned, which means when am I going to do the show? My teeth cleaning is at 1 o'clock, which means I'll probably still do the show for subscribers probably 11 o'clock. I'm guessing probably by 11 a.m. I'm not doing it every day, but I'm doing it every day-ish right now. So I'm going to thank you, Super Hornet. I will probably check in around 11 a.m. subscriber only show. So for the monthly subscribers, as my thank you, because I've got to make it worth your while to become paid subscribers to support my work. So I'm going to do a special show for you just about the election, the latest, and it's a smaller group. So we actually I can see all the comments and stuff. And then of course I'll be back tomorrow night on tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Eastern time, US. I'll be back here on TikTok and YouTube to talk about the elections and Ukraine with everybody. The free show. The free shows are still here. Don't worry. Still a free show. All right. I will try to check Kamala's speech out. Sorry, General Opposite. Oh, did you just miss my show? If it's been an hour and a half, if you're arriving now, you did. Or if you mean Kamala's, I missed Kamala's. Thank you, Marge, for the donut. All right, guys. Do the thumbs up. All right, let's do the thumbs up again. Woo! YouTube is pretty cool. It does this just whole... I'm coming. All right. And what do you say? The OK does something too on YouTube, doesn't it? Or two OKs? Oh, maybe it doesn't. I thought it did. Oh, OK does not do anything. Okay, never mind. All right, guys. Does this do anything on YouTube? I'm trying to get YouTube to do things. It doesn't. Shoot. Okay. We're trying to get YouTube to do funny things. Anyway, the free show in the morning. I mean, I go through the news in the morning and talk about the latest news. And then in the evening, I go through even more news because the free show is at like 11. I mean, the free show is at night. So the morning show is 11 a.m. So at night, I'm covering the rest of the news for that day. My sub only live on Saturdays, it's 11 a.m. Eastern. So 11 a.m. Washington, D.C. During the week, if I do it, around 11:30, if I do it. Oh, thank you guys. Good. We got a lot of likes today. Thank you on TikTok. I'm not trying to schedule that one in because it's also very tiring doing 2 shows a day. So I'm kind of trying to do it after I have a chance to check the news and have my coffee and occasionally be able to not do a second show every day, Monday to Friday. So I'm trying to kind of keep it liberal, so to RRR, to quote Mork. All right, guys, let's talk later. I'll see you all tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening, all right? Thank you again, guys, for everybody. Thank you, mods. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you, the new subscribers. You're lovely people. All right. Good night, YouTube. And you all, good night. Oh, we're not.